It's Ray here from Man City Fan TV. Hope you are doing well. It's Sunday morning, only 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning, but some of us have been up for hours already. I'm just going to see if I can get, obviously, my thing to work, so I can read your questions, because I'm using Switcher on my phone, which sadly I don't think I can get a live chat up on Switcher, which is a real bummer. That's where we are. But fingers crossed it won't be long. It won't be long, guys, because I'm hopeful. Now I've got 465 subscribers, so I'm hopeful that we can get to the right number so that we can live stream. Let's just see if I can open up this. So I can live stream off my phone. Once I get that 1,000, fingers crossed, I'll work hard enough to get there by the start of the season. I'm just going to open up my messages now. Sorry guys, just bear with me so I can read what you're saying. Just make sure the volume's off. Darcy, how are you doing? Darcy, good to get you on. I'm here, guys. Hassan Malik, 99, how you doing, mate? King Ark, hi. All right, mate. Just seen a dude on a United stream saying United backed off from Delict for some reason. Obviously, they got rejected. Yeah, and I can't believe United didn't back off. As far as I'm concerned, the guy's looks an exceptional talent with a tremendous potential. So why would you back off? Hi, Ray, how you doing? Abhishek, I'm very good. Chris, how you doing, mate? I hope you're well. Today, I'll just get it out there because it's not meant to be for football chat. I mean, I asked yesterday, and people keep asking me in all sorts of streams. It's the same sort of questions. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to do specifically just on me, okay? So people can find out a bit more about me. And so when they ask these personal questions, most of them are not a big deal, then I can point them to this video and say, just watch that 20-minute, 30-minute video, whatever. We had a live stream. You can find out more about me, and then if you don't like what you see, you don't need to come back or whatever. So you get some more information. So I put it out there. People have asked lots of questions. I added a couple of things as well. Hi Kamal, how you doing, buddy? So I've added a couple of things as well to that to give a fuller picture. Someone asks half a question, then I think touches on a subject that's worth expanding on. Then I've expanded upon it. So hi Bill ABC TV, how you doing? Down in Australia, Sydney, if I remember correctly. And for those who asked me about Toy Story 4, went to watch it last night with the family, and gets you in the end. It hits you. But not big fan. But they always get you one or two moments in the film. Even if it's just a cartoon. So I'm going to go through these questions. I've got, can't remember, about 15, 20 questions. King Art could pin a link to the video on your Twitter once it's done. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll put this on so people get an idea. And that's why I don't want to do too much of other general stuff. So I'll just go through the questions. And if you've got questions related to me, then I'll try and take them rather than, the general football chat that we have and the general chat that we have. So here we go. I'm not going to say who's asked me the questions. You got plenty of shouts outs already, but there's different questions. As I said, some of the questions were asked, some of them I've expanded upon because someone's got halfway through an issue, and I thought, okay, I'll do a bit more. So, first question: what did you want to be when you were growing up? Hi, Sea Dog, how you doing, buddy? So I'll start again. Hi, how you doing? But I'm going to focus on the questions mostly now. So what did you want to be when growing up? Well, when I was a kid, I really, really wanted to be a footballer. I had no idea what was necessary to be a footballer. I wasn't that good, to be quite honest. I was decent enough. What you'd always get from me was hard work. Whatever sport I played, you get everything. At school, I played cricket, at junior school, cricket, chess. I was a very good chess player. Football, athletics, cross country, that kind of stuff. And at senior school, I played cricket, football, rugby league, athletics again, hockey. Played hockey for the team, so for the school. I athletics. If I said that, played whatever I could to represent my school. We weren't brilliant, but I did whatever I could, and I worked as hard as I could in every game, in every sport I played. Excuse me. I'd have loved to have been a footballer, but I was way off the mark. Regardless of how hard I worked, I didn't have enough skill. I was basically a stopper. I had no control, not enough composure. But I would put a good tackle in and get rid of the ball. That's all I did. I wouldn't make it in today's world of football because I don't pass the ball to my players. No. I focus on an attacker coming down. I'll get the ball off him. I'll tackle them, and I'll just leather the ball anywhere. Because as far as I was concerned, if it's not in if it's not in our half, they're not scoring. If it's not near me, they're not scoring. I just get rid of that. And I was just a hoofer. Openly admit that. So, good morning, Shakti. How many kids do you have, and how old are they? I've got 2 boys. Eldest is 11, almost 12. Will be 12 in August, and the youngest is 10. And very, very different kids. They like some similar things, like some different stuff. They like music and sports. Very much into their martial arts at the moment, and video games, and messing about with their mates. That's the kind of things they love. I love this question. Okay, how did you meet your wife? All right, I won't tell you too much about my wife, but some funny stuff. My wife, you can't get one up on my wife, my missus. Okay. Actually, the funny thing is, our fathers knew. My wife's French, and she was working in London at the time we met. And actually, didn't know at the time, we were from the same town in Pakistan. Our fathers were from the same area. They knew the same people. And it's such a small world that she just happened to be in London. I was in Manchester, and we met in London. And I remember ringing one of my mates, good friends, and said, for me, it was love at first sight. I don't think it was with her. I think I just hung around long enough for it to give in and to succumb to my charm and wit, but I just think I hung around long enough for it to, it's okay, okay, I'll marry you. I'll tell you a little bit about her, not too much, but you could never get one up on my wife. I took once we got married, I took her on the Monday. We got married at the weekend. Took her on the Monday to Man City versus Middlesbrough. We won 1-0, rubbish game. And it was only, I think, after that game, subsequently she told me that it was only her 3rd football match that she'd been to. She was not big into football, not big into sports really. So she played a little bit of golf and other bits and pieces. She's not big into sports. She said her first game of football that she'd ever attended live was the World Cup semi-final in France in 1998. And her second game was the World Cup final. I mean, put me down and knocked me back. Every time I tried to get one up on her, she'd slap me down, really slap me down. I remember once watching, I was chatting to her on the phone, I think it was possibly just before we were married or just after, and there's a Top Gear programme on, and they had this big, massive bridge in France, and I think they're driving supercars down there. And at the end of the programme, Jeremy Clarkson was his usual thing, chucking it, possibly a cheap bit of xenophobia, anti-French. And he said the designer, the architect or whatever, was British or English or whatever, British. So I thought I'll ring my wife up and get one up her on this. So I started telling her about how it finished and that the guy who designed it was British and whatever. She goes, oh, blah, blah, blah bridge. Yeah, I know that one. I've been inside it when they were building it. Okay, another knockback. All sorts of things that should knock me back. I remember when I used to watch Formula 1, and we're talking about Formula 1, and I was talking about Michael Schumacher or whatever, and when he was with Ferrari. And she said, oh yeah, Michael Schumacher, yeah, I've met him. I've been in his car. You what? She'd been in Michael Schumacher's, the season before's, winning Ferrari for the Formula 1 championship, world championship. She'd be sat in his car, partly because she was so small and thin that she could fit in the cockpit and into that car, because if you were basically like me, you'd never fit in there. You have to be fit or small and slim, and she was. and it was a works thing, and she was the only one that would fit in. So after that, I never tried to get one up on her because, I was never ever going to win with my wife. Just go through a couple of messages. See you, dog. Good to see you. Well, Shakti, hi. Nice to see you. Darcy, work experience tomorrow till the end of the week. Mate, look forward to it. You know, Darcy, don't go into something and be, negative about it. Be positive. Yeah, it could be the making of you. You never know. You never know what's around the corner. Always go. I worked in sales for a bit, and one of the things was always treat your next customer as the next big one. So even if you've had a terrible day, you gotta start with a smile. You never know who might be a great customer, what might be a great experience. Just go for it. King Art, that reminds me, lad in my high school made his done firmly in debut last season. Fantastic, 18-19. It's not a Spurs shirt, guys. Can you not see? Can you not see the French cock? Rugby. So a French rugby top. There you go, to King Art rugby top, yeah. Okay, next question. So I've done talking about. Did you go to university? And where did you go if you did? Well, I'm a bit disappointed that people think I've not been to university. I went to Liverpool University at the end of the 80s, when Liverpool were still a very dominant team. Went through Hillsborough there, I think, and some good times, some bad times, and tough times for the city. But I studied maths at university in Liverpool. Subsequently, I went to Leeds Metropolitan University a few years later to do an accountancy course, and I used to work at Kingston University. So a lot of universities in my checkered history. Next question: what qualifications do you have? Wow, I've got a few. Some might surprise you. Yes, I've got a load of O levels and a few A levels. Got a degree. I was a qualified accountant. Qualified about 25 years ago. So I'm a FCCA. So I'm a fellow. I'm a certified accountant, but I'm a fellow because I was qualified for that long. Basically, you've done your time. And I was also a chartered tax advisor. So I did those exams, bloody hard exams, but I got through them. First time passes, very chuffed. And what else? I'm a qualified aerobics instructor. That might shock a few people. I never actually took any classes because I was working at the university when I was doing my aerobics instruction, and I broke my foot playing football, and I couldn't do anything for a month. And I'd already got a part-time job to work at the university because I was working there as an internal auditor. And then in the evenings, I was going to do some aerobics instruction, and it was going to be very popular because there's very few guys, especially in the 90s, that were teaching aerobics or were actual qualified instructors. But because I broke my foot, the job disappeared, and I did the exam a month or two late, passed it, no problem. But and then I changed jobs, and I was too busy. I was way too busy to even think about going back into doing any aerobics. I'm a qualified badminton coach. I did that whilst I was in France. The town I lived, they used to have badminton classes or badminton group or whatever, club once a week. And I wanted to go, but there was the year that I wanted to go, there was no coach. So they said, we can't do it because there's no coach. I said, well, I played badminton for, by that stage, about 20, 25 years. So I said, well, I'll do it. I'm happy to do it. And they were happy to take me on without even any qualifications. But I decided for my own, I wanted that credibility as well, and for my own peace of mind, that I'd do a badminton course. So I would actually I remember driving from Paris on a Saturday morning up to Oxford. I think I had to do it a couple of times. Driving from Paris to Oxford to be there. And I used to arrive at 8 o'clock, do the course during the day, and then drive back. Or I'd stay the night and then drive back. I was very sensible in those days to actually stay the night and then drive back, because how many miles was it? It's 185 to Calais, and then let's say another 100 on top. So I'm doing the best part of probably about 350 miles one way. So it was sensible to have a rest there and come back. So I've done lots of qualifications, and yeah, it's always fun. I'm wanting to do football coaching qualification because my kids want me to teach them and their mates at school. They want me to coach them, so I thought I'll do it properly. I'm just trying to find a course right now where I can dedicate enough time, and we'll see if I can manage to do that. But that's my next target. So let's look at your questions. Sea Dog never watched rugby, that's why I did not know. Neither do I, but I just recognise the bird. Yeah, it's the French cock on a rugby ball. Chris Welch, which team would you support if Manchester City didn't exist? That's actually a question that I've been asked, so I'll do that now. I'd probably, because I grew up in Oldham, so I suspect I'd have followed my hometown team when I got to know about football better. I started supporting City when I was about 5 years old because my cousin, my elder cousin, I think he's 4 or 5 years older than me, he was a City fan. And I was lucky because the rest of my family and his family were Reds, whether United or Liverpool, they're all Reds. So it was tough growing up when I was a kid because, you know, obviously I think my youngest brother supported Liverpool, my other brother and sister supported, excuse me, they supported United, and the other family was all Reds too, so it's a bit horrible, but we're making up for it now. King, would it not have been cheaper and easier to fly? Can book an EasyJet flight Edinburgh to Amsterdam for 36 quid? I assume you can. I don't know. Flying to Paris is a little bit more expensive, and I could only get there. This course was in Oxford, and that was what my thought was at the time. And it's not that expensive because I used to go on the Eurotunnel. Basically, I'm just paying for petrol, diesel in those days, and a couple of a toll charge, and the Eurotunnel was costing me about 43 quid each way. So looking at 86 quid. And the toll charge was under 20 quid, so you're looking at about 125, and the petrol, let's call it 30 or 40 quid. So it wasn't massively expensive. And also I had a friend in Oxford, so if I wanted to, I could go up and meet him or stay with him, meet him for dinner or something with him and his family, him and his missus. Or, you know, having a car, it makes me versatile, so to speak. Oh, not versatile, flexible, because I can come and go wherever I want, and I don't want to go land somewhere and hire a car and pay for that. I'd rather drive my own car. If I want to go to a particular restaurant a few miles out of town, I can do that. I have that freedom. And I had friends as well who live around London, so I can go and see somebody on the way. It's always very nice to squeeze two things into one. Let's look at the next question. What was your first job, and what else have you done? And what do you do now? All kept together, rolled in together. Okay, my jobs, I've got like 12 minutes. I'm taking a lot of time. My first job as a student, I was at university. I worked in a bakery, big bakery that makes cakes for all your big brands. I think Tesco, Marks and Spencer's, and a lot of other big household names. They made the cakes, and I worked there for a few days. And trust me, I didn't want to look at an angel cake after those 4 days. And then I worked at hospital kitchens. So this is while I was about, I think 19 or 20, while I was a student at uni. So I worked in the hospital kitchens. Basically, I was cleaning the kitchens, and I remember one of the kitchens, I used to spend about 4 or 5 hours with my hands in boiling hot water, just washing the dishes or washing big pans and stuff. It's things that couldn't go into a normal dishwasher or an industrial dishwasher or whatever. They had some big things, so that was fun. And you knew you'd wear these big, massive marigolds, and you knew when there was a hole in your marigold because obviously the burning hot water would get through and burn you. Absolutely horrendous. What other jobs have I done? Well, I started off as an accountant, so I studied maths, started off as an accountant, external auditor, internal auditor. Then I worked in internal audit in a hospital and in a university. Then I went into tax. So I worked for a big firm, the biggest firm of accountants in the world. So I worked for them as a tax advisor. And what else? Then I ran my own businesses. I ran my own recruitment business. I ran a couple of recruitment businesses. And before we moved to France, I actually sold the recruitment business to spend more time with the family. And subsequently, I've taught English whilst in France to young kids. I've taught badminton. I was a badminton coach in France as well. And now I'm kind of self-employed doing the bubble stuff and moving more into workshops in schools, be it some. Hopefully next year I'll get paid by some, but on a voluntary basis. And I do some other work in theatres and on the stage where I'm fortunately paid a little bit of money. It helps to keep me ticking over. So let's look at the next one. So that's what I'm doing now. So now, yesterday I was doing the bubbles, making bubbles for kids. But my dream now is to spend more time in two areas. One, in working in the theatre and on stage and at science centres. I love that acting and performance side of things. And the second is to do the workshops with the special educational needs kids, whether they're violent, got behavioural problems, anger management issues, autism, ADHD, learning disabilities, physical disabilities, whatever. You know, I want to work with these people, with these students, with these kids, and adults as well. I work with adults as well to help them progress in their lives in whichever way I can help them to relax. Soap bubbles is a relaxation. We use it as a deflection technique, okay, or a distraction technique. Sorry. So while kids are playing with the bubbles, they don't think about certain other things. So, for instance, in hospitals, they use them in some hospitals to distract the children from fear, anxiety, and pain. I use them when I used to teach, and psychologists use them in their. Some psychologists, probably very few, but I know some that will use it in their work. Okay, they'll do a 10-week, 1-hour session, so 10 sessions of 1 hour a week to help someone progress. And you've got to, as a, you know, for instance, I've got impatient, violent kids. You've got to curb your behaviour and your attitude to be able to progress and learn as you go. And because they want to learn and they want to play, generally children do tend to calm themselves down a bit, relax a little bit, and enjoy learning something as well. Hi Skylaws, how you doing? I hope you're well. Riley, do you think Man City are ruining football? We're spending over £1 billion on transfers. No, Riley, don't. It was ever thus, Riley. It was ever thus. All other teams have spent lots of money, you know. And if you look at since the inception of the Premier League, City aren't the biggest spenders. I think that's Chelsea. You know, Liverpool have spent loads. United spent loads, and they were spending. You got to remember they were spending money when other teams didn't have it. You know, you talk about City spending 50-odd million on a defender in 2017, but United spent on 2002. They spent 30 million on Rio Ferdinand. Juan Sebastian Veron for 35-40 million. Rooney 30 million in 2004, I think, on a kid. Figo went from, was it Barca to Madrid for 40-odd million, 54 million, and that was in about 2000. So all teams have done it. It's not just City. And if you look what City are doing now, we buy people like, people complain, oh, you bought this player for 50 million, this defender. Well, Liverpool spent 75. You bought this goalie for 35 million. How can you do that? Well, Chelsea spent 70, Liverpool spent 65. You know, it's not City. And the ones who really ruined it are Barcelona and Real Madrid. Go and look at their history. I did a video about this a couple of days ago. Go and look at their history as to who's been distorting transfer fees. Chris Welch, I know the feeling. My two rituals of kitchen porter. Yeah, it's a hard job. I'm going to have a quick... I'll answer some questions as I go. Sorry, guys, if you're just hoping to hear about me. I'll answer a couple. Skyblogs, do you know what happened, if anything, on 606 Blue and Legends page? I haven't been able to get on the past week. It has worked. It can be fine. Sometimes there are problems with that, Skyblue was, but I think it is working, and I put a couple of articles up. It's actually very, very quiet. Now, Darcy Ray, I don't want to intervene, but I was wondering what's the reason for your dark eyes. I also suffer from dark eyes, but I don't know why. Mine is, I suspect it's hereditary. I mean, I've had doctors or nurses say, oh yeah, you know, you need to get some more iron. That's not the reason. I know one of my sons has got an iron deficiency, and he's getting dark eyes. The other son hasn't got this problem. My dad had this problem. I'm the only one of the kids from my dad's family who've got this. It's just, I don't know what the reason is. I don't think I've got an iron problem. I have plenty of iron. It's not sometimes how much iron you get, it's whether you're absorbing it. And I've never had a problem with any blood tests I've done in my life that says I've got an iron deficiency or an iron absorption issue. Hi Gary, hope you're doing well. Let's go on with these questions because I've done 25 minutes and I'm not even done half the questions. Okay, I'll answer this one. This is, some people have been a bit cheeky, but are you really a kept man? Okay, are you really a kept man? Okay, assume that's because you've seen it somewhere else. And I'm not going to talk about that other thing, but I'll talk about this. I ran my own businesses, very successful businesses. I worked on the basis that if you charge, as a recruitment business, if you charge good prices, in fact, competitive beating prices, and you provide a good service, you'll make money. And I went in that business and I thought, if I can make 20 or 30 grand a year out of this is 15 years ago, I'd be really happy. I'd be happy with that. I wasn't greedy, didn't need too much. Yeah, it did really, really well. But when I got married, when the first child was on the way, I decided to sell up. And I wanted to spend time with my family. I was around 40 years old, and that's what I wanted. You know, I'd done my running around. I mean, my wife had done her running around as well. She used to work as an executive in many different countries. She's worked in Malaysia, Dubai. I mean, she's French, but she worked in London on long-term basis. I mean, the Dubai one was quite funny. I'll mention this funny story. But we were going to get married in October. And I think in September, was it September, August, September, she got a new job with the same company, but in Dubai. So she got a job in Dubai, and I had my business and I was working here. So we started our married life. We had a couple of weeks together, and then she went off to Dubai. And what I would do is every 2 weeks I'd fly out to Dubai to spend a long weekend with her. So I'd go out on Thursday night and come back on, I think, Monday morning, and just in time to arrive between 8 and 9 or whatever. If I wanted to go to work on Monday, I could. So I would do that every 2 weeks, just fly out to Dubai for a long weekend. And you know, those were the days I was doing that all the time. And then the kids came along, so she moved back here. So am I a kept man? Well, when we went to France, my wife had kids had been born, but my wife had some illnesses and some issues, and we said we wanted to spend our time with our kids because you could see parents who would drop their kids off at school at 7:30 in the morning and pick them up at 6. Now some of these kids are like 3, 4, 5 years old, and how much time do you spend with your kid? You'll get them up in the morning, drop them at school or nursery or whatever, pick them up at 6, and at 8 they're in bed. We wanted to spend our time with our kids. And on Wednesdays in France, there's no school, so no nursery or whatever in those days. So we would always go to Disneyland. You know, we lived not too far away, so nearly every Wednesday we'd go there. I mean, some weeks we'd go 3 or 4 times in the summer. Just take them out for a couple of our kids. They weren't going to sleep early, so we'd take them out to Disneyland for a couple of hours, watch the parade, watch fireworks or whatever, go on a few rides and come back home. So we'd do that all the time. Living in France. Then my wife wanted to go back to work. You know, she loves work, my wife. She loves the pressure. She loves having a lot on her plate, and she thrives upon it. And she wanted to do an MBA, so we said, okay, you know, we'll fund it together. Okay. I told my business I had some money. I said, we'll pay for this. And she went back to uni, did her year and a bit there, and got her MBA and went back. And then decided she went back to work. So she went back to work, and we decided that I'd carry on looking after the kids. My wife was like, well, Tam, we wanted to have a parent looking after the kid rather than just leave them in nursery for a few hours extra. And then I started working part-time in France, teaching kids English, coaching badminton. I did 12 or 13 hours a week doing that, and then a little bit of voluntary work as well. So I was quite happy doing that. And then back in the UK, we moved back last year, so we carried on like that. So I do some part-time work, look after the kids, and I'm nearly always available. So if the school call me, say, you know, your son's forgot his trunks or his shoes, his sports shoes, can you bring him in? Yes, I can. Okay, the school's 15 minutes from my house. I'll do it. You know, I'll do whatever I can for my kids, and then I'm available to take them for their sports and music. And that's another thing in France. I was always available. They're doing rugby or playing instruments or doing other activities. I was always there, football or whatever. I was there to take them and bring them home. Makes life a lot easier. And it's the same over here. So I've done the same. And yeah, I could work more. But as a family, we've decided, especially now my wife's working away from home 2 or 3, 4 days a week, that the kids need one of their parents around to spend time with them, to look after them, to listen to their problems and help them. And quite happy to carry on doing that. Chris Welch, which football clubs do you hate the most? Hate is a strong word. I don't hate football clubs per se. I don't like some fans. United fans and Liverpool fans, they've got that sense of entitlement, some of them. And some of the Arsenal fans, like, you know, the more vocal, vociferous and rude ones who are happy to, you know, have a pop at my team. And also suddenly think they're entitled and that they're doing things the right way. Anybody turns around and says someone's doing it the right way, go look at history. Most clubs have had a benefactor or some sort of support in their history. You know, Liverpool were formed simply to make money because Everton used to play at Anfield, and then I think the landlord, wanted to up the rent, and Everton just said no. They wanted to cross Stanley Park to Goodison Park and start the club there. So you had this owner who had a stadium and no one playing football. So he set up Liverpool so that they could play football and he could make some money from crowds and everything else. And I think within 10 years, had they won the league within 10 years? Very, very well done. But that's why they were formed. All teams have had benefactors. Liverpool had the Moores family. Everton have got Mashiri right now. United have had Edwards or whoever. They've had excuse me, I've got a bit of a cough. They've had a lot of people, so you know you can't do it without money. Okay, at the end of the day. So yeah, this is that's my situation with that. Let's go down. What was your first car? My first car at uni. I had a Nissan Violet. Cost me my dad about 400 to 500 quid for this Nissan Violet. And then following on from that, what other cars have you owned? I mean, you're talking about 30 odd years of cars. I had a Nissan Violet, crashed that. Then I got a Toyota Starlet. Then what else have I had? I had a Toyota Tercel, Volkswagen Scirocco, loved that. Ford Sierra. I had a Rover 400 for a couple of years. Blimey, now I'm getting into the late 90s. I had a Volkswagen Passat for several years. Then I had a Jaguar XKR. Loved that. Very, very fast car. Very, very fast car. But easy to get tickets. But I never did. But then when my first child was born, I said, right, that's it. I can't, it's not really a practical car. So I sold that and I bought an almost new Mercedes CLS, which I had for about 10 years. And now I'm in a high car. I'm actually looking for a new car at the moment. But I've had other cars as well. I've had cars just for fun. So you can go and Google these if you want. But when my business was doing well, this is what I bought. I bought a Volkswagen Beetle. That was a dragster. So it was meant for, you could drive it around town, but it was a drag racing car as well. So I bought that. I had that. I had a Porsche 718 RSK Spider. So it was not an original. I'm certainly not that rich. It was a kit car based upon a Beetle. So I had that lovely. It's got no roof. And I upgraded the engine, so I had, I think, a 2-litre engine. It weighed nothing. It absolutely weighed nothing, that car. And it was made by a company that made go-karts. So it was really low on the ground. You were right on the floor. And I remember taking one of my mates down the Oxford bypass and scared the living daylights out of him because he was not expecting you to go at 70 miles an hour. Because you're so low, it feels a lot faster than 70. It really felt a lot faster than 70. It felt like well over 100. So that was a lot of fun. I had a Triumph 2000 racing car that was used for historic car racing. But I didn't go and do any racing with that. And then the other one of my real nice cars, I had a Mercedes 300. And it's not a 300, this was the original 300, so we're going back to 1953. Black car, absolutely wonderful. But unfortunately, I bought that at an auction. The engine went. I think I had a problem with the engine, and I sold it to someone who wanted to do a lot of work. I didn't have the time. I was running my business. I didn't have the time to do that. I was working 70 hours a week, so I certainly didn't have the time to fix the car. And he did very well out of that. Got it cheap, sold it for a lot of money. So he did very well. Let's have a quick look at your questions. Where are your roots? Yeah, I'm from Pakistan, Sea Dog. I was born in Pakistan. My mum and dad, when they were born, it was India, that long ago. And my dad used to play, I said to some guys yesterday, he used to play cricket for Punjab. He was a very, very good cricketer. And in England, he played in the Central Lancashire League. But we came into England, my dad came in the 50s, and I was born in Pakistan. I'd never been back. I came here when I was not even 18 months old. And, this is where my roots are now. My dark eyes, I don't know, mate. I don't know what the reason is, Darcy, for the dark eyes. I think I mentioned that already. No illness, it doesn't cause me any problem, but I do have a slow or a lazy eye, so sometimes one moves and the other one doesn't, and one is, I think the whole eye is a bit bigger than the other. So that's why some people make fun of me, but hey, it's where you go. Oh, fingers crossed, maybe you have to sort out your, maybe choose a different browser. I have 3 browsers or 4. In case I have a problem with one, I can use the other. It doesn't affect my sight, King. Does it? Can you speak French? I can speak French well enough to get by, but I always, I don't know why, I put on this heavy northern accent if I can. So, it's bonjour. I can say bonjour. I can talk French with put on a French accent, but I'd rather say bonjour. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Okay? It's just a phrase I've heard. Maybe I should not have said it today. But anyway, Arsenal fans, arrogant, absolutely. Quick football thing. Dani Alves just announced he's leaving PSG. Nope. Pep would say no, because once you've done the dirty on, oops, sorry mate, I just moved that, guys. Once you've done the dirty on Pep's not interested. You know, when you say no to Pep, the only person he's chased is Aymeric Laporte, and he had a good reason because he was injured and he wanted to prove himself that he was back before moving to City. So greatest football player ever. Well, unlike Alison Rudd, who said, well, didn't you say it was Jari Litmanen was the greatest footballer she'd ever seen play live? Mine's going to be Messi, and no question. What he's achieved for so long. Yes, he's not done it on an international stage, but Messi. Messi's here, Ronaldo's here, and everybody else is miles away in the current football. I saw Maradona, and Maradona was brilliant as well. I never saw Pele play, but Pele was obviously very, very good. To score, was it 1,000 goals? You've got to have something about you. If you could play for City, where would you play? If I could play for City, I've played at Etihad, played once in a charity game. I was captain, and on my team was Andy Hinchcliffe. On the other side was David White. I'd love to play up front, because if you're the goal scorer scoring goals, you get all the accolades. But I'd probably play left back, because that was my favourite position. Because my job, I didn't need to get forward. I could come forward as long as I could get back. No one would complain. So I could come forward if I want, and John attacks, and I could get stuck in as well. I love getting stuck in midfield. I couldn't get the position at left back. You're only looking at. So I'm here. I'm looking at there. Midfield, I'm looking there. I'm looking everywhere. Left back, I'm usually looking in front of me, down the line, and a little bit up there. So your field of vision doesn't have to be that great. Favourite away ground? I've said the Spurs away ground is great. I like going to Fulham. Very picturesque ground. I'll say it again. I played there at Craven Cottage. Very nice. But they're very nice grounds. What did you get for your last birthday? And what did you get for Father's Day? Last birthday was the day of the cup final. So I spent the day without my family. I think we went out for a dinner in the evening. Or no, they'd got me some pizza or something. So it's a bit naughty of me to go out and watch the cup final. That was how my day was spent whilst they were going around London sightseeing. Because we got a flat down in London at the moment. So, even though my wife's worked there and lived there for many years, kids have as well, visited many times. There's always loads to see in London. Father's Day, I think I said this. What did I get for Father's Day? I got a donut, an expensive. It must have been like £4 for this poxy donut. If you're in central London, you pay daft prices for very little. From one son I got a watch. I don't fancy that, because I don't wear watches now that much. From the other son I got a little cuddly toy that said "Best Dad in the World" or something like that. And my wife got me a pair of socks, "Best Dad in the World." What sports have you played or currently play? Sports, I would always have a go at everything. So when I was a kid, a lot of football, a lot of cricket, chess. I was very good. I used to play for the town that I lived in the Northern Championships for a couple of years. I played for the town before I got bored with it. When it got to the stage where we were getting coached. So I was a very good chess player at school, and then we ended up we had coaching for the top chess players in the town. But I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed playing for fun, and the coaching and you learning about different openings and how to play in different defences. It just bored me, so I give that up. So I do cross country, rugby league. Hockey I play for the school. I'd have a go at everything. When I was a bit older, badminton I used to play regularly, squash. I used to do gymnastics when I was living in London about 25 years ago. I used to have a great life. We work at the university. We used to finish work at 4:30. You get in early, leave early, go to the gym, do some weights for an hour, try and get home by 6. And by 7, Monday night you're playing football. Tuesday night you're playing squash. Wednesday night was athletics. No, it was aerobics. No, I'll get it right. It was gymnastics on a Wednesday night. Thursday was, I had nothing on Thursday, so I just go for a run. Friday, probably did very little, because Saturday we had a football match. And Sunday, I'd find something to do on Sunday, sometimes go kickboxing or find something to do, because I had so much energy. And now, pretty much I just do martial arts. Still do a little bit of weights, a little bit of running, I like skiing, but I've only been once, and ice skating and roller skating and stuff. I want to, I would like to go back and do some of those stuff again, and so hopefully I'll get a chance. Golf, I used to love golf. I used to play it a lot, but my shoulders are really, really bad. My body's quite battered now. I've got problems with my knee, with my Achilles and ankle, and my shoulders. But I'd love to, loosen up and start playing some sports again. Hobbies. One of my hobbies now, we're doing this, watching City play and getting involved on social media. I used to love playing on the PlayStation and stuff, but now very, very rarely. I play a little bit with my kids. But when I could beat my kids at things like Mario Kart, yes, I'm very happy to play with you boys. Now they're giving me a pasting. I'm a bit more reluctant. I'll play a few times and then see you guys play against each other. I don't need to get beat by my kids. What did you have for breakfast? Today, a bit of a change. I had crumpets. My lad wanted some crumpets, so I had crumpets with fried egg and a normal piece of toast, wholemeal toast with bread and blackcurrant jam. And I've had about 6 coffees today because I've been. I was on the phone at about 5:30. I had a 3-hour conversation with somebody today on Skype. So always working for the channel. Got some very good ideas, and hopefully, actually, I've been asked to appear on a new podcast, a brand new podcast that might be coming out hopefully in July. So I've been asked to give my expert opinion. Expert opinion. We'll see how expert I am. But so hopefully that's a brand new venture. So someone's asked me to get involved with that as a startup. So yeah, sounds very, very exciting. Good people to work with. And for them to ask me for my expert knowledge, it's not always just going to be about football and tactics and stuff, because I'm not sure I've got expert knowledge at that, but there's other areas in football finance and other stuff, so that could be a very, very exciting project coming up, guys. I'll have a quick look at this. Paul Brannigan, Paul Blue says, hi, how you doing, buddy? I'll just go through these and then I'll go back to my questions. Lady Marmalade, Sky Blue was, JG Harry, how long have you been on for good? Yeah, I've been on for 45 minutes. I said today's just going to be about me because people keep asking me, and hopefully in the future I'll be able to say, go and watch this video. If you're asking me in the chat, go and watch this video. If you're asking me about Andy, go and watch that video, and we can do more of what's going on at the time. Wait, King Gak, someone said I thought Liverpool was the better. Yeah, absolutely, King Gak. That was Alison Rudd. And so she made some other comments, like when she said City, she gave us, we got 100 points. And I think she gave us was it a B or A minus? 100 points. And she gave us an A minus. What do you have to get an A from her? And was it that season she said City would finish out the top 4, and we ended up winning it with 100 points. Cheers, King Ark. Have a good one, mate. Thanks for joining. Darcy Klein. Wow. What's the greatest piece of advice you give someone? Be yourself. Be yourself. Love. It's all related. Love yourself. Be happy with yourself. Be happy with. Don't worry about people who want to make fun of you for the way you speak or your looks or whatever, because those people have got their own insecurities and they're trying to take it out on you. Be happy for yourself. Try to be comfortable with yourself. Once you can love yourself and be happy for who you are, I'm 50 years old and I'm still not happy. I would love to have some hair. I'd love to have better teeth. I'd love to look like Brad Pitt or Omar Sharif or whatever, but I don't. And once you can accept yourself for yourself, then I think you'll have a much happier, peaceful life. Stick around people who are good people to be around. I said this to my son once, because there's some loud kids in school and people want to be friends. I said, don't chase people to be their friend. Don't do things that are wrong just to be someone's friend, just to be with the in crowd. Yeah? As long as you've got some good friends. I said, look at me. I've got some friends that I had from uni. I've got some friends that I've had for 30 years from all over the country, and they're my good friends. They know they can rely on me, and I know I can rely on them. Those are your real friends. They're the friends through thick and thin. And whether you've got money or not got money, they're still your friends, they're still your buddies, and they'll listen to you and help you. So, you don't need billions of friends. 10 really, really good friends is fantastic. 5 good friends is fantastic. And that's what I prefer, rather than quantity. quality. I have great times with my friends. So be yourself. Be true to yourself. Don't change too much for somebody else. Yeah, unless it's a girl. Don't change too much. Change a little bit, but people are going to accept you for as you are, and be a decent person. If you're a decent human being and a decent person, people will see that. People will see that. People know about me, my friends. They know some of my faults, okay? But they also know about me as a person and what I do, what I've done in life, and everything else. People know me, and they see some of the nice things I've done. My wife always says, you're a wonderful human being, a great father. Your heart's always in the right place, even though you might make some mistakes in the way you say things or do things, or you do things wrong. But your heart's always there, and what else can you ask? That's my missus, and it's not because she loves me, because trust me, if I do something wrong, she'll tell me. But if your heart's in the right place and you're doing the right thing and you're trying to do the right thing, you should hopefully end up with a good life. Riley, guess what? We did that. I did that for a year. I've done that for a year. Fan cams before games, fan previews, previews with other fan channels, and during games, reports and fan chats afterwards. Everything. We did everything. Hi, Shakti. How you doing, buddy? Riley, how can we improve the atmosphere at the Etihad? Well, get a few more people in. I think one of the things is we've got an aging supporter base. City have got the most supporters who've been season card holders, I think, for over 25 years in the league. We've got 40,700 season card holders. So it's, as you get older, you might want to sing less. I mean, if I'm in the right mood, trust me, I give it good and plenty. And, I think some guy said to me the other day, saw you after the Liverpool game, you were screaming. Yeah, because I was buzzing, man. Everything was buzzing. So, but as you get older, 60s and 70s, they're not going to give it as much. So, it's just the ones, I'll turn around and say the ones who can, should. The ones who can sing and want to sing should give it everything. And others will join in. You'll see, others will join in. Wouldn't want to look like Omar Sharif now. Well, actually, absolute sky blue odds, because the guy's been dead for many, many years. Shakti, who's your all-time favourite player? David Silva. No problem, no question. I've said it many times. David Silva, all day long. Let's have a look at some things. What's your favourite food? And can you really eat fish, chips and pie and beans or peas at the same time? I love food. I'll be quite honest, I love food. I love things like kebabs, meatballs, I love them. I like pasta, spaghetti, any type of pasta. I love pizza, absolutely love pizza. I like sushi, I like foods from different parts of the world. And yes, I can really eat a big fish, big portion of chips, a pie and some peas as a main course, and then have a dessert. Okay. Now I went to Germany with my mate a couple of years ago, and we were doing some work there. And he's a big guy, 6 foot odd, decent sized guy. And we went to this Turkish place in where we were, and I think they call it pide or pide. And it's like a pizza kind of thing, huge, absolutely huge. And he struggled to finish. And I remember asking for a big portion of chips as well. My mates knew me as I have a sweet tooth. I'm always after desserts. I remember going to America, and I had all you can eat stuff, and so I'd have loads to eat, and then I'd have the dessert trolley. I'd have 3 desserts from the dessert trolley, big desserts. I love it. I can eat a cake on my own. Honestly, I can. The days where I've easily had 4,000 or 5,000 calories, I can eat and eat and eat, which later life can cause you a few problems. Are you religious? What's your favourite dessert? I'll do the favourite dessert. I love everything, Chris. I like cheesecake. I like Asian desserts. Some of them are absolutely fantastic. I like cake. Like ice cream, biscuit. Honestly, if it's sweet, I like it. Am I religious? Up to a point. I'm not crazy about religion. I believe in God, and I do follow my religion, and each to his own. And sometimes I wish I was a bit more But you know, I live my life by trying to be a good person. That generally, it doesn't always work, but do good deeds, be nice to people, and you'll get rewarded, whether in this life or in the next life. So always try and do that. Let's keep going down. Restaurants. I guess that my favourite restaurant in Manchester. If I'm going out in Manchester, I tend to. I mean, most of the time with my wife away, we'll go out. We'll try to go out once a week to Rusholme. Whether we go to Sanam, which has been there for about 50 odd years. Another one is if we want a takeaway, or especially when my kids were small and they were very messy, we'll go to somewhere like Sudgeon, which is a bit, you know, a much lower level experience than Sanam. But you know, the food is decent, and you know, my kids can be as messy as they like, and they generally are. Favorite holiday destination? I'm going to be in here an hour, I know it. Favorite holiday destination? Love going to Malaysia. Absolutely. My wife used to work there. Been there, I think, 4 times since I've been married. Malaysia's great. I mean, and Singapore. So when we go to Malaysia, we do Singapore as well. Wife's got so many friends, even though she left there about 16, 17 years ago. You know, so many friends, and we went once without the kids, but we came back early because my wife missed the kids. We left them with their parents, but we've been out there. My wife's got some very good friends. We went out for a wedding. I remember one Christmas we went for a couple of weeks for an engagement party, and then 6 months later we went for the wedding. We were there, I think, 4 or 5 weeks. I think we did 4 or 5 weeks there and a week in Dubai on the way, or 3 or 4 days in Dubai on the way back. And my wife had some very, very good friends there, and spent some time in Singapore as well. So we'd, you know, she'd go and have dinner and meals with so many different people up and down the country. It was absolutely crazy, the number of people she knew. And we went to the wedding we went to. It was a lord, equivalent of a lord there. And in Malaysia, you have, I think, 13 not islands but provinces or regions, and each one's governed by a sultan. And for the wedding we went to, the sultan of that area, he came to the wedding. I got pictures of him because he knew the lord. And the lord is a doctor. He's a really, really nice guy. We met him in Paris. Took him to which way did we take him? Took him to a really famous place on the Champs-Elysees. How can you forget? They do the and I've even forgot the name. They do the macaroons. Forgot the name. It's the place to go. You know, they do a tea service there. You know, the waiters and waitresses, and everything's really high level. You know, with cups and everything. I'll tell you what. How can you forget the name? Anyway, I did. But yeah, you know, he's really nice people. So I love going to Malaysia. Dubai, not as much. I spend a lot of time in Dubai. But not as much. I mean, the food, yes, I guess we can get some nice food, and a couple of days going in the bazaars and the markets, I quite like that. But then that's about it for me. There's nothing to do. I'm not a bling bling person. You know, your football rate. Cheers, Shakti. Take care, mate. Chris, see you later. See you, Chris. Darcy, I believe in God, but don't attend church anymore. As I don't find much time. Love to go tomorrow. Yeah, so sometimes it's, you know, it's good to have something to believe in and follow, and. You know, I think as long as you don't try and enforce your beliefs and put on others, and just live a good life. You know, it doesn't matter what religion you are, whether you've got a religion or no religion, agnostic or heathen, whatever. Okay, just be nice people, and the world would be such a much better place. Will you ever visit Algeria? Why not? Why not? I've got friends who are Algerians, especially in France. There's a big Algerian community in France. Why not? I mean, I'm not scared of the Mahrez fanboys. Absolutely not. What's my favourite YouTube channel? Well, obviously this one. I don't watch much YouTube stuff anymore, I'll be honest. Not much football stuff unless it's football highlights. Generally, I used to like watching ESPN stuff with Craig Burley and Stephen Nicklin or whatever, Gab Marcotti or the French guy, I forgot his name, Laurent, Julien Laurent, and I forgot the Mexican guy who's on there as well, but I used to quite like that. But most of what I watch comedy. I like watching old Whose Line Is It Anyway? I love them. improv stuff, comedian stuff. So Drew Carey's Provanza, like that, all that, the Whose Line Is It Anyway from the UK and the US. Some of the Mock of the Week stuff, although some of that is, the jokes are just, some of it's just swearing for the sake of it to get a cheap laugh. Whereas I think with Whose Line Is It Anyway, it's a higher level of comedy, if you can understand that, if you understand my point. So there's my favourite. Are you really a kickboxing expert? Yeah, I think that came from another video. No, I'm not. My brother is, I think. My brother used to do boxing, Muay Thai boxing, Jeet Kune Do, which is like what I think Bruce Lee did, mixed martial arts, that sort of stuff, grappling. Yeah, I remember telling a story that my brother, I'm slow at reaction, my brother's so quick. We had an argument once. Might have been at university or just a little bit older, and I didn't know he'd punched me in the face until the blood was dripping down. It wasn't a bad one. I didn't know he'd hit me. I didn't feel it, and it was so quick. So I think he used to do some kickboxing. I think he stopped after, I think it was his first fight, and he broke someone's nose, and he didn't want to do it after that. But he's a big guy, my brother. He's a little bit taller than me, a lot wider. He's got, honestly, his shoulders would scare you. When he gets his shoulders up, they are really, really scary. So I'm moving this. Almost done. So I'm not a kickboxing expert. So someone else asked what sport. No, I've done the sports. So I do a bit of mixed martial arts. I do a bit of boxing now. I did jiu-jitsu when I was at uni. And so I'm doing a bit of Muay Thai kickboxing, a bit of mixed martial arts, and a bit of boxing rolled up. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I enjoyed the workout. I'm not saying I'm any good, but I enjoyed the workout. And I remember my brother used to say to me, I used to spar with him occasionally because he needed a partner to spar with, basically someone to beat up. And actually, he didn't throw many punches at me. The idea was I would throw punches at him and he would just duck and weave. I think I only got him once. Him and his mate, they used to spar properly, and I was just there. He'd have one hand behind his back and just bob and weave and move around. And I remember he said to me once, if you connect with your right hand, yes, it's going to hurt. It's going to be dangerous. But the problem is, it's getting that connection. I was too slow. But I've got the power there. The coach has said that. So fingers crossed I can work on my technique and get it faster and get even more power. Let's see, so Chris is gone. Nearly done. Favourite City player all time, we've done. Premier League or Champions League next season? Premier League all day long. Bread and butter. Go and ask Bill Shankly. But Premier League. Do you really hate Stephen? Some controversial, I left a bit of controversial stuff to the end. Do I really hate Stephen? Don't hate him. Why would I hate him? And I don't hate people. We've had, let's say, a disagreement. We have a difference of opinion. That's it. There's no hate, And I'm not, going to say, if I see him, I'm going to break all the bones in his body. No, try and have a good, as few fights as possible. I'll tell everyone, I'm a lover, not a fighter. And some people say you should be a fighter rather than a lover because you're a damn lousy lover. Stick to fighting. But in all seriousness, I'm not up for that. I'm not up for fighting. Will you ever get back with Andy? I doubt it. I think that's water under the bridge. Let's move on, guys. Onward and upwards. Let's go forwards. We've got to move on. Life moves on, and want to stay positive. I think that'll get sorted out eventually. It'll all wash over, and we'll move on. We'll do our own things, hopefully, and everybody will be happy. Stephen will do his, and Cheesy will do his, and Andy will do his, and I'll do mine, and hopefully everybody will live happily ever after. Thanks for coming on, guys. About half an hour longer than I was expecting, but it's just the way it is. I might do another one at another time with questions and answers, but I don't want it to be as long as this because my Sunday's almost gone now. I've got to go to my mum's for a barbecue, and then I'm gonna go to Manchester to get my kids' haircut. My wife's got a few things to do in Manchester, and then she's got to go to opticians and go back to London. Lots and lots of things to do today. And not much time. And it doesn't. I've been up since 5 o'clock, so I'm trying to squeeze as much into the day as possible. And one of my things, you might not agree with this, but people say, I don't sleep much. Yeah, I might go to bed at midnight, get up at 4 or 5. But I always say you're a long time dead. I want to squeeze as much as I can into my life, into my day, and as long as you're getting enough sleep so you can function properly. I don't need 8 hours. I'm happy with 5 or 6. as long as I can function well enough. Guys, you've been fine, fantastic. I hope you're well, and I hope you guys have a great Sunday. And I might be on later this evening, I don't know what time, maybe 6, 7 o'clock, something like that, maybe a bit later. And if there's anything football related, do a short football related vlog. Take care, have a good Sunday, see you around Blues.